to, be aware of time.
Yeah.
But hello, everyone. It looks like we're live. Me and Lisa are currently talking about fantasy romance, because Lisa is vlogging right now.
This right now. It's so thick. Like, this is another reason why I don't read fantasy, because it's so thick.
Yes.
And then I don't know about you, but listening to the audiobook for fantasy novels take a lot of energy for me, because there's so many different characters, the world building, and the names are all like, obviously we're unfamiliar with, so it can get very confusing between characters if you don't pay attention. So this is a rare thing that I'm actually sitting down and reading like a fantasy novel, but like it's just so fitting because of the weather, and it's so fitting because of the season. So that's why like I've very recently got into it. But have you also read Blood of Hercules? Is that what's the book?
I have not. There's a lot of like popular romantasy that I still have not gotten to. I still have not read Fourth Wing.
Never either, too.
Yeah, like and my main reasoning for waiting, I want to do a vlog where I just like binge the series, the 3 books, but I'm waiting for the graphic audiobooks to come out for the latest book, and that's not going to be until like April and May. So that's coming at some point. But when it comes to fantasy, it is very, very rare that I will just listen to the audio. Like, I absolutely have to do like the immersive reading. I'm listening to the audiobook at a slower pace than usual, than a contemporary book, and I'm following along with like a physical version too.
What's a graphic audiobook? What do you
mean? So graphic audio is like a specific audiobook company, and they've made audiobooks for a lot of, they mainly do fantasy series because they're like cinematic audiobooks. Like they do like sound effects, music, a voice actor for every character.
I gotcha.
It's a very immersive way to like listen to a story. So I have listened to most of the ACOTAR series that way. They did the Crescent City series. They're working on Throne of Glass. And they've recorded a lot of Brandon Sanderson, which is exciting because like I'm kind of hoping to start my Brandon Sanderson journey this year. So that'll be really fun to have those audiobooks. But I think they're just very well done. The production value is there. Hello.
Those ones you definitely can't slow down. I mean, you definitely can't listen to at a faster pace because you lose out on all the performances and it just doesn't sound right.
And then, I also wanted to tell you that I watched I guess it was your most recent video, about what you were talking about, books that like got you out of your slump. And I loved that video. You gave me so many good recommendations. I put like all of them on my TBR.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. Awesome. Because I recently got back into BookTube, and then I'm trying to hold myself accountable, like try to post a video a week, but then I got sick the last 2 weeks of January. Oh my freaking gosh. It was horrible. And then afterwards, I paused a little bit, and then I was like, what should I do? Like, I guess I do have a lot of recs because I read a lot I didn't read a lot. I read but I read in 2024 and I never talked about it. So then I was like, let me just highlight some of my good reads that are not necessarily like, my best books of 2024, but it's just fun reads that got me on my slump. So I'm glad you liked it. Thank you for watching.
It's fun. And I think I'm finally going to have some time to film videos of my own. Maybe tomorrow. But
what are you doing?
I am doing like books I'm currently obsessed with. So kind of similar to your video in a way. Just books that I've read recently that I've really loved. And then I used to do these and I got out of the habit of doing them, but like talking about all of the book series that I finished in 2024.
Yes. That'd be a good one.
I finished more than I thought I did, actually.
You should also do one with like ones that you're in the middle of.
I have done that before too, so I might do that as well. In the middle of series I'm finished with. And then books I'm currently obsessed with. So
I was like browsing BookTube to see like what people are doing nowadays because I took such a long break that I don't even know like what the trends are and stuff like that. So like another one that I saw was like what I realistically read in a week as a booktuber. Now those ones don't really like apply to us because we're not a full-time booktuber, but I thought it'd be interesting if we like do like a twist on it. I was like a booktuber, but with like a standard 9 to 5. You know, like so but then that would be a nice play on what I read in a a weekly wrap up. You know, it's different. It's different than the it's different than the weekly wrap-ups.
True.
And then and then the romance books that I need to finish, which is the series thing that I just talked to you about. Because I'm starting in so many random series now that I need to finish them. But like this series, I want to finish. I want to read the third one so badly right now.
Mm-hmm.
But welcome to our live show where we talk about historic romance and random things.
Very, very, very random things. So I'll be real with you guys. So the book for this month is The Marquis Who Mustn't. Love, 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 love the covers for this series. Courtney, Milan. I have not finished this book yet, unfortunately. I really thought that I was going to have time to, and unfortunately I didn't. But I'm about like halfway through, so I've read a decent amount of the book.
It's a long book.
It's
a long book.
Yeah.
And no audio book.
Yes.
So annoying.
Yes. How many pages is your copy?
I think like 300 and wait, hold on. No, wait. This is the author's note. 348.
It seems longer than that, but
it's like, no, it is. So I think that's like another thing is that you have to, for our books that don't have audiobooks, we actually have to commit time out of our week to actually read them. So I don't blame you at all, Rachel. Like because I failed last month, I think it was last month where I failed, where I didn't read one of the novellas. It was a novella and I couldn't even fucking finish it.
Oh, sorry. That's right. Because there was no audio.
I swore, so I only finished half of it. So I told myself I can't fail Rachel again. So I committed myself to 25% a day. Just reading it on my Kindle, like 25%.
Gotcha.
And then, so that's how I set my goal to finish this book. But
yeah. So we've been flip-flopping then.
yeah, which is fine. No pressure. Yeah. Our book club is no pressure, no shame. We just do what we got to do to talk about books, but also not putting pressure on us. So
yes. But all of that to say, I mean, I am truly enjoying it so far. At the moment, I would say it's at least a 4-star. I could see it being a 5-star, just depending on like how the second half goes.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll just set up the plot because why not? This is book 2 of her Wedgford Trials series. We've both read The Duke Who Didn't, right? You've read that book. Yeah. And I loved it. I'm sure you really enjoyed it.
So I regret not reading that book and only listening to the audiobook because I think I was very impatient with the audiobook because I think like the performance wasn't good and then I was just impatient with it and I didn't listen to it properly. So I didn't like the first book as much as everybody else, but I feel like if I went back and I read it physically with a Kindle or with my physical copy, I would enjoy it a lot more.
Yes, I think you would too. I think I almost gave it 5 stars. I can't remember if I listened to the audiobook as well as like following along with the Kindle version. But so this one is about Naomi, who is Chloe's best friend. Chloe that was the heroine from book 1.
Yeah.
And then we have Kai. They have kind of a complicated situation. They were arranged to be engaged by their parents, but then so Kai's father frauded people. He was a thief. He was awful. He scammed people in that village specifically out of a lot of money, and then he just left Kai really kind of like to pick up the pieces of his crimes. And so like everybody pretty much kind of hates Kai just as much as they hate his dad, or at least they did back when it happened. And so then like in the present, Naomi is trying to take ambulance classes, but she was like sent to Dover to pick some guy up from like, I think it was either the train station. I can't remember, but he doesn't show up, and so like she's walking through town and she sees a man who she thinks might be this dude, and like so she just like grabs him and like, but she needs to go register for these ambulance classes, and then like the guys that are doing the registration are like assholes to her, not only because she's a woman but because of her race. And so she decides to lie that Kai is her fiance. So it's essentially fake engagement, but there's more to it than that. So
yeah. It's like, yeah, it's like, it's funny. Like, yeah, I think like another funny thing is that she saw him and she went immediately like, that's the person I need to look for, because this book is set in Britain, right? Like it's set in Britain, but they're Chinese, but then it's a town where a lot of Chinese immigrants moved into, and then, but there's still like fair bit of Caucasian people. So then when she saw like one Chinese man, she just expected it was him.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, it's this guy. And then like she just thought like this entire time, you know, like he didn't know any languages except for Chinese. And then but then turns out he fully understood what was happening in New English. So I thought that was cute and quirky. And like I feel like with every Courtney Milan book, the characters just have so much complexity to them. Like they just have so many moral things that they have to work through. So our hero comes from a family, or comes with his father, who has committed all this fraud, and he himself has carried all that burden and that guilt of frauding like the whole town and running away with the money and living lavishly and just following his father blindly. And then now he wants to make right by coming back to the town and being like, I'm going to make my craft, which is pottery. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to make money, and I'm going to return every single buddy's like fortune in that way. You know, like I'm just going to have this whole scheme. And then he doesn't think that, well, he got himself tied up with Naomi, so he's very careful with her because he doesn't want to hurt her feelings. And then meanwhile, our heroine, she has her own issues too as well. I found it so weird in like the first chapter where everybody was describing her as plain, like she's not attractive, she's just plain, she's not beautiful, she's overlooked and things like that. And I thought that was such a weird way of like introducing characters to us. So I question Courtney a bit on that, because usually like when you read romances, like both characters are usually described as like this very beautiful person, and you know everybody looks towards them and there's like the spark and beauty. So I thought it was really weird until I realized, or until it was more properly explained, that our heroine's main issues are with herself and how she loves herself and how she doesn't love herself, and how she struggles so much with her like her features, and like how she's not the standard beauty, and how she has so much low self-esteem. And then she also her issues with her mother, and how she thinks that there's just like so much tension in her household because she's not like a typical woman. She wants to do ambulance classes because she doesn't want to feel helpless ever again during like a battle where people were injured. She wants to be doing something. She wants to be brave. And then so this book has so many complexities to it, and I loved how we got to see her and her mom kind of mend their relationship towards like the second half, and how they had like those deep conversations about her past and about her mother's past, and then her mother's family, and why like her mother is so overprotective of her. And then we also got to see his side, and basically I was rooting for him to kind of get over his guilt that he was just carrying, because he was just such a broken man. Like the way that he thought about himself, the way he thought about like his worth and his place in Naomi's life, like he never felt worthy. So I was just kind of rooting for him the entire ride. I think like the first 25% of the book, I was not into it, to be honest. I was kind of like, oh, this might be like not a pick that I would really enjoy. But then I think like towards the 30% mark where we got to see all these different layers of the characters was where I really sunk into the book and where I really enjoyed it, and how protective and sweet he is towards her. You were probably at that scene where people were kind of like picking on Naomi, kind of like making jokes about her, and he's like, what's a fiance, or like what's good as a husband if he doesn't protect his wife's happiness. And I was like, wait a second, this is a new thing. Like, this is a great book. So if you are struggling with the first 25% of the book, keep going and you'll really enjoy it.
So I did want to address Alicia's comment. So I also have not finished the book, Alicia. You might have just tuned in. I'm about like 50% of the way through, and Lisa has finished it. But I'm glad you're enjoying it so far. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Lisa. From what I've read so far, I pretty much just read that scene where like they're kind of making fun of her because like, it's like they're at the inn and she's kind of like treating people's ailments, but they're not real ailments, and she's getting all the bandages out and like sad and stuff, and they're kind of making fun of her. I mean, I didn't really see it as them like maliciously making fun of her. But nevertheless, I love that moment where he was like, maybe don't make fun of your friend because she's happy doing what she loves. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Woo!
I was like, damn. Damn. I love that.
It took me a while to get into this too. Yeah. I would agree with that as well. I definitely think this book takes some time.
It's not what
we're into.
Yeah,
because her books are so complex, like you said, like it definitely can take some time to like warm up to them. I feel like I remember feeling that way with
what's that book called?
Unveiled, that book that we loved.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
I think it was the same kind of thing where I wasn't really sure, at first. But as it went along, like as you get to know the characters, as things get more complex. Also, I have to say, I noticed in this book in particular, like I love her sense of humor too. She does have a sense of humor. Her books are not all just like dramas. Like, and I love. Andrew's really funny. I'm very excited to. I think his book is next.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so like she definitely has a sense of humor as an author.
I think it's just
first. Oh, awesome.
No. I think it's just like hard because I feel like the first chapters or the first 25%, you get characters that you're not familiar with, and that not the same characters that you would get from a standard romance or a historical romance. Like I said, these characters, you're thrown into the story and these characters are flawed in some way at the start. And they have occupations or they have hobbies that are not the traditional types that you would see from other historical romances.
Right.
So you enter the Courtney Milan historical romance, you're kind of taken aback by it. You're kind of like, you don't know how to feel about it. You might be into it, but you might also be not into it because you're expecting like a cookie cutter like heroine who's beautiful, gorgeous, has normal hobbies for a woman. But then no, it's not like that for Courtney Milan romances. So it's like you have to give it some time and then let it marinate a bit, and then you'll start enjoying it.
Yeah, and this is also unusual too. Like I didn't really like think about this until just now.
Mm-hmm.
There is really no one in this story who is of the aristocracy besides Jeremy from the first book. So I mean, he's not a main character in this.
Yeah.
So I think that's also really
interesting.
True. Yeah, like you hardly ever see that with most of what's being written, especially traditionally published historical romance. It's all the same. It is all, everyone's in the aristocracy, the ton, all that stuff. And I love those books too, but it's really great to see books like this where we're not only following more like just normal people, middle class or lower class people who are not the aristocracy, but we're also following characters of different ethnicities.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love about Courtney Milan. She definitely brings something different to the genre.
Yeah. And the reason why it's called the Marquis Who Mustn't is because, and you might be wondering, like, who's the Marquis? He is supposedly a Marquis. That's why, like, it's part of the fraud, and it's part of, like, the story of his, like, fraudulent like upbringing. So yeah, they claim themselves to be of royal descent, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love the immigrant experience. And she's mixed. So she's like half Japanese, half Chinese. So I thought that was really interesting too as well.
I really appreciated that too. I mean, so far, I'm sure we'll get more into what that means for her and her family.
Yeah.
Being, half Chinese, half Japanese. But yeah, I really love that too. And I'm hoping to see more of the cultural differences maybe between the two, and how that has kind of manifested into her life and her family's life.
Yeah.
Because
it's just, it was good. It was so interesting to see a Japanese Chinese, family and how they interacted with each other. And I don't want to spoil it, but like they have characteristics of a very like strict like Asian household, or in a way where
right.
where like affection isn't really shown, right?
Mm.
And that's problematic for our main heroine, because she takes it as like, if you're not physically affectionate with someone, then you feel like you're unloved, or like she feels like. So she always held this kind of resentment towards, the family, because she thinks that there is no love in the family. So it was great. Like, I like the dynamics.
Well, from what I remember earlier on in the book, like there was a scene where, I want to say maybe it was the scene where like she had just come back to Wedgeford from Dover, with Kai in tow.
Yeah.
And like the scene where like she tells them, "Hey, I'm engaged," and like this whole thing of like her parents don't show emotion. Like, they're not gonna like yell and scream, like, in reaction to this. And I find it all just very interesting and fascinating.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you who Andrew gets paired up with, because I forget.
I actually don't know.
There's a scene towards the end where it's like obscure, where it's like Andrew's whispering to a girl, and then it leads into the third book, but like I forgot who the girl was, and had to. But Andrew would be interesting, because Andrew is the brother of Chloe, who is the main heroine in the first book. And I believe Naomi, Chloe, and Andrew are all in one family. They're cousins to each other, I believe.
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah. And then and then Andrew is described to be a very like playful character, I feel like he makes a lot of jokes, he's serious about his family, but he's just kind of there for comedic effect sometimes. And so I'm excited to read his book. I think his cover is gorgeous. I don't have it with me right now,
but it is gorgeous. I
think they look great together, the models. I don't know, it was just great. I had to get it because of that one. I had to get the whole series because of the third one. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna read that one very soon.
I do want to read that one at some point.
I have to keep going, or else I'll never read it.
Right?
Like, keep the momentum going, or else you just never finish the series.
That's how I feel lately about like all the fantasy series that I'm in the middle of. It's like at this point I've really have gotten to a point that if like I stop, it is going to take me like almost a year to get back to that.
Yes, because you'll forget too.
Yes. So yeah, I definitely understand that struggle.
No, so that's why I think you're so smart for like waiting for a fourth wing to finish, so that you can just jump in and read the whole entire series. Is it only 3 books, or is it more?
Well, I think it's going to be at least 5.
5?
Yeah,
it's like 600 pages.
Or maybe just 5. I don't know. I remember number 5 floating around. But yeah, I'm not going to binge that series. I definitely always like need a buffer between fantasy.
Yeah.
But yeah, once those audiobooks, the graphic audios come out, I'll definitely read that. But yeah, I am genuinely enjoying it. I wish I had more time to finish it before the live show. This book, Courtney Milan is just such an interesting historical romance author to me. I feel like she brings a level of complexity that makes me think of authors like Lisa Kleypas and Lorraine Heath, but at the same time, she's more unique than them in other ways, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just, I really think that like authors like that, like they truly know the craft of writing a book. It is not just, you know, putting two characters together. Okay, thanks, bye. Like, you know, there's truly more to it than that.
And I think it's good that we picked it because she's an indie romance author. Well, she turned indie a long time ago now, but she's indie, so it goes under the radar sometimes because not everybody can find it buried under so many other indie romance authors. So I'm glad we picked her since there's a shortage of historical romances on our shelves. Like Rachel and I have talked about this a lot on our live shows. We talked about it in our group chats and our friends group chats too, about like how publishers are not publishing as many historical romances. So I'm glad that, you know, we are picking out some good ones. We're highlighting those. But I also wanted to take a segue and say that there is a new Loretta Chase book.
I did.
Look how pretty it is.
That's really pretty. That's
right? Really. So I had to buy it because you know what? Because like publishers like Avon, they don't know the demand. So then I have to buy it now. I don't care. I'm buying any historical romance I see out there because all this stuff about not publishing just breaks my heart.
Well, and it breaks my heart because this week in particular, like I had found out about like a couple of authors who didn't get contracts renewed. So Kate Bateman posted on her Facebook that her contract, I know,
with S&P.
Yeah, it didn't get renewed.
Wait, that's so sad.
So her last book with the publisher is coming out this summer, and then she's just gonna do indie though because she has done indie before.
Yeah.
So she's not gonna stop writing, but it is very sad that she's not gonna have the backing of a publisher.
Is it Her Majesty's Rebels series, like the newest one?
I think so.
Oh shit, that sucks, dude.
But it's a very beautiful cover that she has for her last book.
Like How to Fall for a Scoundrel?
I know. I'm so sad about it too, Kim. Like when I saw that Facebook post, it really, I truly enjoy her books. And it, again, like Lisa said, it's just really sad to see, you know, this very real manifestation of like the attitude towards historical romance at the moment. And like all these publishers want to publish is romantasy. And like, I get it. I get that there's the demand.
Sorry. I'm on Kate Bateman's page right now and it just loaded up a freaking
She is very lovely. She is a very lovely person. And then I also wanted to point out Kim's comment. Her style is just a little quieter to me in terms of Courtney Milan, and like I 1,000% agree with that. I feel like Courtney Milan is one of those authors, like you start her books and you really don't understand or realize like how complex and how well written it's going to be until you get later. And like I think I could say that about all of the books that I've read by her. So like I absolutely agree. But yeah, I am excited to continue on with this. I'll probably finish it tomorrow. At some point. But like Lisa said, it's a struggle when there's no audiobook. Like it truly, truly is. Like with like full-time jobs and things like that. I'm sure all of you can relate to that in one way or another. But
I'm so sad.
I know. Wait, let me see if I can find that cover though, because it's beautiful.
Which one?
Her newest book.
The one that's coming out this year, Road Trip with a Rogue.
Yeah.
I'm buying it.
Yeah. I need to find it. Let's see.
Like,
I guess it's the Her Majesty's Rebels series.
Oh my god, this makes me so sad. Why is like Avon romance?
Well, and did you see that Elizabeth Hoyt also got
Read Forever Romance, and now S&P Romance are not publishing historical romances. Why?
I don't know.
Or like they're not publishing the big authors.
So this is going to come out, I think, in August. But I love Kate Bateman's covers. Like, she gets beautiful, beautiful covers. This is coming out July 29th.
This makes me so sad.
I know. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I was also looking, like, at her backlist. Like, she's only had, this is going to be her third series with an actual publisher. And then they're just dropping her. It's like, that sucks.
That does suck. You know, there's a there's a new Megan Frampton book. And I know you're like, she's a hit or miss. She's a hit or miss for me too. But look how beautiful this cover is.
It is. I did see that.
Right? It comes out later
this covers. Like she really does.
I'm glad that she's still getting good covers since last time we had a chat and who got a really bad cover and oh yeah, that's
yeah. I don't know what that cover is. I think
you look at the peers and they get all these gorgeous like, you know, covers and then she gets that, I would be upset.
Yeah. Yeah. Joanna Shupe is someone though that like if she got dropped, like she would absolutely, I think she would absolutely just switch to indie because she already writes indie as for her pen name, Mila Finelli. But how do I keep up? Honestly, because I watch booktube videos, like that's truly how I keep up with new releases. I'm not on TikTok, first of all. So like I'm not seeing what's going viral on there until it moves its way over to booktube. So that's like truly what it is. Like I follow like all of the popular booktubers, you know, people like Jess from Peace Love Books, you know, Tori from Novel Life. The list goes on, but like and like Jen from the Book Refuge, like they all like stay on top of new releases. So that's how I find out about them. I'm definitely kind of behind other people when it comes to that kind of stuff. But yeah.
What I do is that I go on Amazon and then I go under books and then I go under romances and then there's a filter where it's like coming soon.
Oh,
and then I just scroll through it and then I just go, oh, coming soon from December 2025. Sure. And I just like look and then the covers usually, most of them is like updated. Some of them are like cover coming soon. But that's how like I kind of like make sure I have all my titles that I need added into my cart or added to my TBR.
Gotcha.
And then that's how I kind of keep abreast of like everything. Plus it's like in a list format. So I just like already know things. But yeah. And the discovery page on Instagram for indie romances because I miss a lot of those ones. So that's how I keep track of the books I need to read.
Yeah.
But it takes away the enjoyment of like going shopping and then you're like, oh, I've never seen that before because most of the times I'm like, I already saw that. But like, yeah.
Right.
Well, it was
is that book a part of a series? Like, wasn't she writing a series?
Yeah, let me see if this is part of the series. It's part of the Difficult Duke series. Yes.
I read one of those books and I loved it.
Yeah. It might be the first one, A Duke in Shining Armor, where she jumps out of a window because she's drunk.
No, I read the second book, The 10 Things I Hate About the Duke.
Okay. The first one was fucking hilarious. I think if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, she's drunk and she's like upset that she has to marry this guy. And then she jumps out a window, and then the groomsman's best man is like the best friend, and he's like, "Oh fuck, are you kidding me?" So then he jumps out of the window with her, and they spend like a night like just drunk and like running around London, and like falling in love and stuff.
Wow.
I think if I'm quoting the right book, but yeah,
it's definitely from what I remembered. Like it was definitely a very like entertaining like series. The way it was set up, like these three dukes who like just don't give a shit and they do whatever the hell they want. And like, it was really funny. It was a really funny setup.
Yep. I think I'm correct. I just read the synopsis. So yeah, I'm correct. Oh, man, I'm so excited to read this. I'm going to go get that.
Yeah, I want to read book 1 now. I want to, and probably reread book 2.
Yeah, I'm excited. Loretta Chase. She came out of nowhere too. I just randomly saw it one day and I was just like, yeah, that's coming home with me.
Because that had taken a few years for her to write that book. Because, like, yeah, book 2 had come out, I want to say, like, 2020, 2021. And so that book kind of came out of nowhere. But I really love that cover. Yeah, I think we do have to start kind of wrapping it up, which I know it's really short. But, yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to say, Lisa?
No, I just kind of regret that like we have to wrap it up short because every time I talk to you, there's just like 50 other million things I want to talk to you about. And now I just feel like, oh wait, but this and that. But it's like I don't really have anything new or exciting to say. It's just random shit that's in my head. I just want to talk to you about it. Same. But I enjoy talking to you about things, so I'm glad we have this chat. Thank you for everything to the viewers too, as well, for joining and for leaving your monthly pick. We don't have a monthly pick yet for March. No, is it for February?
So we would have to pick a February book because this was our January. But
no, this is our February because we had a January novella and a December novella.
No, that was November and December.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need a February.
Alicia, thank you so much. Thanks for watching and commenting. We really do appreciate it. And we don't necessarily have to pick a book every month. I mean, we're two very busy people. So, I mean, like, if we did every other month, like, it is what it is, Of course. You have a good night as well.
Kim.
Yeah. But as usual, me and Lisa will message at some point.
Yeah.
and decide when and what the next pick is going to be. But yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in and for leaving your comments. And we will see you guys in the next one.
Bye. Bye.